Hey everybody, Boomhouse69 here, and I wanted to talk about a little bit in our random talk video here. I like doing these random talk videos just to try to help out the kind of mostly the YouTube algorithm and stuff. That's why I do them a lot. And plus, right now with my budget situation, money situation, I can't afford to be going out and buying all kinds of products, doing all kinds of product reviews and other types of videos I like to do. That's why all these little go-kart projects are on hold and different things and stuff. Once I get more, making a decent amount of money, then it will be okay, what videos can I capable of do? Oh, if I was the one on little go-kart frame, if I was breaking in about $500-600 a month on YouTube or something like that, or over 2,000-3,000 a month, I would be able to pull that off and stuff. And then plus two, I want to someday remodel this house that I'm living in. Once I get that fully paid off, then I'll be working towards saving up to be able to do those sort of things. This house back behind me has a Michigan basement. I'm currently in the garage, as you know, what we call a Michigan basement, dirt floor basement, and my goal is to someday raise up the $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 it would take to assuming that's what it would cost around to jack up this house and put a beautiful, nice, full cemented in proper, what I consider a proper basement. Put a nice not necessarily a fully furnished basement, but just kind of more of a more modern basement with a nice cement floor and stuff, where you can actually stand up in it, and then on the back of this house put an addition on it and stuff. And that sort of thing's gonna cost, you could easily in this house have almost close to $500,000 and different things, the way the building materials are and stuff, and the prices of all the lumber and different things that would require. You're easily around 100,000, 200,000 roughly there and stuff. And then having a cement company and proper construction workers, since I don't know anything about construction, I would have to hire a construction crew and then pull building permits and all that stuff. So yeah, that's going to be a costly project, but that will be later on in the future, and maybe I'll be able to bring people along for the ride. That's what I call it. But yeah, pantry did really good. I was so glad to be able to make those videos about the pantry. I had the time to do that and stuff. I shared them all over all of my Facebook community pages, my local pages, like every town has nowadays. A lot of towns and areas have a little dedicated Facebook page for all the local news and town gossip and stuff, so I always posted them about the little pantry whenever I make updates to let the community and everybody know. And so the stuff that I put in there, for the most part, is already been gone. So that tells me there's people in the area that are in need, and they saw the video, hey, and they saw my video and say, oh, that guy's got a little pantry set up in his yard. I'll see what he's got, and they partake and stuff. The reason why I bought the little microwavable little dishes and the little Debbie snacks and stuff is because I'm always trying to, when it comes to putting food in there, I'm always thinking about quick, easy meals and stuff that don't require a whole lot of ingredients, and stuff, because not everyone can afford to, go buy a big giant turkey and put it in there or something, or all kinds of, meal dishes that require a bunch of ingredients. Not everyone's going to be able to afford that, because with a turkey, you gotta have a big old turkey pan, you gotta have a big oven. Some people live in small apartments, and they got small apartment size ranges and stuff where they might not be able to fit a big giant turkey and all the triplets and stuff, and you just can't. Not many people can just slap a turkey bird in an oven and be able to watch it for 8 hours or 9 hours, whatever, how long it takes. I forget how long a big old standard sized turkey bird takes and stuff, you know. And then on top of that, a lot of people like to stuff their turkeys and things, and even with a ham, like if you put a ham in there, you know, then you gotta buy a bunch of other stuff to kind of go with it. So I always make sure when I put food in there, I just kind of put stuff in there that don't require basically a whole lot of money in the end to prepare the food and actually be able to cook and eat. Usually, what I do a lot is when I get to Walmart and stuff, I look at their canned meats, and like they sell canned beef and chicken and stuff, and then I get like chicken helper, hamburger helper type stuff, and that's what, for food wise, I've been kind of doing a little bit there. But yeah, I'm going good. It's already most of that stuff I put in there. It's going that quick. I was like, I was kind of shocked at first. Like, oh, well, that quick already, which was a good thing, anyways, for the little Debbies. Because I'll be honest, I wasn't a whole. I was a little cautious about putting those in there, because thinking like, are they gonna do all right in there? The little chocolate little Debbies and stuff that I put in there, but it didn't matter, because they didn't even last a day in there, not even 24 hours. So somebody scoffed them up. So that was a good thing. I'm glad. I'm glad to see people are using it and stuff. You know, I think that's wonderful. You know, it tells me there's people in the community that, you know, need a little help, and so that gives me the encourage to continue to do more with that, and try to work towards more getting this YouTube channel going, where I can have the funds to go buy the $5,000-$6,000 shed I want to put out there, and make a little bit bigger setup, you know, and stuff, because I think helpful. And I'm gonna tell you right out, a lot of people are gonna say, well, people take advantage of stuff like that, so why build a big old shed and all that stuff? Well, that's just the devil's way of trying to deceive you, trying to get you not to do the work of God and stuff. You know, God wants us to help out our fellow neighbors and stuff, you know, like the Holy Bible says. If you don't know what the Holy Bible says, you know, go to Google. If you're on Google Android, go to the Google App Store or the Apple App Store and download your Holy Bible and stuff. The one that I use a lot, version of the Holy Bible, I use the King James Version, the old King James Version, not the new King James Version, because the new King James Version, they're trying to rewrite scriptures and stuff, you know. I feel like what they call the new King James Version is trying to is a little bit, has some devil trying to deceive people and stuff so I read the old King James Version, as they now call it and stuff. That's the one I look at a lot, but yeah, you know, you're gonna get those people and stuff, you know, that, you know, take more than what they actually need, you know. And it personally doesn't bother me, you know. It's just, I'll just restock up later on when I get a little extra more money to do so and stuff. So yeah, but I'm glad I'm the microwave. I knew those microwavable little meal dinners would be perfect. That's why I left them just in the box, because I figured there's some people that have contacted me about that, like, hey, can you take a picture of what's in there so I don't gotta drive Timbuktu everywhere and stuff. And sometimes when I do have free time, I do, oh sure, snap a photo, send it to them so they don't gotta burn their gas and stuff. But sometimes with my busy work schedule, I can't always do that and stuff, and because it can be a little tricky for me at times. But I do try to do my best on that, and so that's why I've been trying to, through YouTube and stuff, make videos about that to kind of help those people out in here. And then what I do is I take the video, copy a link, and then share it over to my Facebook page to get everybody to come to the YouTube channel to watch the video, see what I have, and then that way I generate ad revenue and money to be able to fund that project even more and stuff. And as of lately, what I've been doing has been doing pretty good because and stuff. I gotta be careful here on this, but to make the for me with YouTube to make it where YouTube allows me to I call it cash out. It usually takes me roughly about I'm gonna say roughly maybe about a few months, about 3 months to get a payment from the Google ad scene and stuff where because I'm not making a whole lot of money off this YouTube channel as of right now. I very, very minimum. If I had to, I tell people all the time, if I had to right now rely on what I make off of YouTube, I wouldn't be living here. I'd be in a tent making videos about being homeless myself. If YouTube right now was my only source of income. Now it might be a little bit different if inflation and stuff wasn't so high and it was like the good old days where you had $100 in your pocket and you was considered well-to-do, but it ain't like that no more. So yeah, so that's why I work also a regular daytime job. Once I make it to a certain point on YouTube where I realize, hey, I'm making all this money off of YouTube, I can quit the daytime job. I probably will do it, because my goal is to build up a YouTube channel, use the YouTube channel as a way to help make my life better and stuff, because there's a lot of things I would like to personally do in my own life and stuff, but I also along the way and want to help those in need, because I figure being able to do this stuff, I believe in the Holy Bible, and I talked about this all the time. I believe in the Holy Bible. I believe in the Christian in Christ, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and stuff. So I figured, like the Bible says, once you become well-to-do, share your wealth and stuff, and that's what I want to do, is be able to also myself live a comfortable lifestyle, but also help other people out and things. And yes, along the way doing that, I know you're going to meet those people that take advantage, I'll use for example, you give somebody, there's going to be people that you give them $10,000, whereas, and say, hey, here's 10 grand, go live your life. Some people will go to take that $10,000, go straight to a casino and gamble it all away, and then come back and say, hey, I need another $10,000, So you do got to be careful, the Bible talks about that kind of stuff happening. So, you just simply have a talk with them. Once you feel like, hey, they're taking advantage of you, don't be afraid to have a sit down with them and talk it out and say, what's going on? Why are you, ask for all kinds of money and stuff? Because I'm going to be on if I ever became like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, a millionaire, billionaire type person, what what other, like, like old Bill Gates, Bill Gates became a billionaire and stuff, and Steve Jobs and stuff. When I get to be a wealthy person, I'm gonna try my best to figure out the best way to share my wealth. Like for example, I talk about the homeless shelter and stuff. That's one idea I've thought about. Build a homeless shelter and give back, because years ago there was a store, a company that years ago called Myers, and the owner of Myers, the Myers family has, down through the years, there was a guy named Hank Myers that built up a department store well, not a department store, like a discount store, or a grocery discount store. He started out as a produce stand. The St. Meyer guy started out as a barber. Then he went from during the Great Depression, this barber business failed, and then he decided to get into selling produce and stuff, and then eventually he turned into, bought a building, made a grocery store, and then it turned into like a little, I call it discount department store, but this Myers guy and he made a business. Then his son Fred took over, and when Fred became a well-to-do guy, this Fred Meyer, when he took the family business and became a millionaire back in the day, he started giving back. He was a wealthy guy that started giving back to the community. He donated a ton of money towards building a in the town, in the city of Grand Rapids, a rehabilitation clinic place for people who get in a wreck or something, and they get hurt medically, and they need to retrain their bodies, or like maybe rewalk again and stuff, or whatever the case may be, maybe retrain their hand or whatever, that like physical therapy stuff and different things, like a clinic of that sort. And this Fred Meyer guy and his wife donated all kinds of money towards that cause years ago. For the city of Grand Rapids has a thing they call the medical mile, which is a bunch of doctor's office and hospitals over here, hospitals over there, and it's like a bunch of medical places all in one little area, and they just call it the medical mile. And he built they call it Fred Molina, I think it's called Fred and Molina Meyer, free break clinic, and this guy, Fred Myers, that owned this chain of stores and stuff, got the idea one time that, hey, why don't get back to me by doing that. He also donated when he was alive money to these nature trails and stuff, and even built his own museum and stuff, so people could educate themselves and stuff, called the Fred Myers Garden. And he did a lot of things, gave back to the community and stuff, and was a big one on helping the community and stuff, So a person like that, when I think about becoming wealthy and stuff, I think about those types of people, and stuff like it. When I get to that point, how can I, give back, and stuff? Because I feel like that's what God wants us to do and stuff, in the Bible they talk about tidings all the time, giving and helping people, because in the Bible it talks about a minimum, like 10% of your earnings, but if you can, try to give as much as possible. But so that's why I make that a goal, to help out those in need, and through YouTube and stuff. And I thought, and I kept thinking about, why don't try to make a living doing that and stuff. And I know it's not going to be a very easy road. It is going to be quite tricky and stuff, but in the end it'll be well worth it and stuff. But yeah, that's one of the main goals on this channel and stuff. So like doing that little pantry thing, and if it wasn't for YouTube, it would have never been possible and stuff. So I want to thank everybody that shares those videos, and the people that have donated or want to donate, or even the people that had used it, took something and thing out of there and took it home and stuff, and the people that are in need and use it, thank you as well, because if it wasn't for you people as well, there'd be a ton of stuff in there, just simply going bad, and people that do donate to that, they'd be kind of wasting their money. So thank you to those that use it and stuff. That's what I do a lot, is I'll make, on that whole pantry thing, is I'll just make videos on my YouTube channel, then I go on to Facebook, social media, and I share them on my community pages to update everybody what I'm gonna try to do that quite a bit, periodically, especially if I put something in there myself. A lot of people know, hey, there's some more goodies in there for people to partake and stuff. Because I know I've had quite a few people on that pantry get a hold of me through Facebook private message. Hey, can you tell me what's in there and what's not? And so when I get those messages and stuff, I automatically know right away to myself, yep, I did the right thing doing this and stuff. So that's why I want to get a bigger shed. Then I can have a little more stuff and a more of a variety, and then start getting into looking at what's really people are partaking in and what people are really not partaking in, and then I know what to buy, what not to buy, and different things. I can add more stuff, like have more room for like maybe a shelf, having a shed, a bigger shed and stuff. Have like one dedicated area for like maybe just one section for like hygiene products, and then one section for food and maybe miscellaneous household items and stuff. And who knows, maybe figure out how to add electricity to it, and maybe put a refrigerator in it and stuff, because possibilities are endless and stuff. What I would do is on that part of the whole shed thingy, I would first, once I got the money, start going on the government's website, my local village website, looking at all the building laws and seeing what all I need and stuff, what are the setback requirements are, and different things, and going from there and stuff. I've even thought about the idea of the little pantry shed, maybe for electricity, running it off from solar, getting a solar set up and having it where it runs off from solar and stuff. I've even thought about that to kind of help, cut down on the cost on electricity. See, because right now I have on-grid power, so if I ran a little shed and had electricity, had them and ran electricity to the shed from my house, it would be, on electric bill, and then Consumers Energy would be charging me for it and stuff. So I kind of shopped that idea around. I also even, it would, in the end, it would be okay what would be allowed and not allowed in the area, what all the look into what all the requirements and laws are, and then go from there on the whole shed idea and setting up. If I couldn't do that, I couldn't do the shed idea. Then what I would look into is looking in the downtown area at raising the money to maybe buy a commercial property, and then doing like a free store with one of the commercial buildings. I know about one that's always down here, that's always being boarded up, and it's abandoned, like nobody used it. Maybe find out who owns that little spot, and then turn that into a little pantry, because that would be a thing. I think the spot that I'm thinking of might have been at one time my dad's my father's one brother, my one uncle, his wife, it might have been his wife's at one time, had a brother that when he was alive, he owned it, and then when he passed away, it got sold, and I think whoever might own this little spot, I think they just mainly use it for storage, and stuff. And then I was thinking about, I could go and find out who owns it, and maybe talk to them when I had the money, and buying it and doing something like that. That instead, if turned out that the village were like, oh, you can't put a shed in your front yard, Oh, I know, basically, if I put something in my backyard, like sheds and little outbuildings, I know that would be a lot more easier to do, zoning law-wise anyways, versus, something in the front yard. I don't know if that would be acceptable or not, because they might have a bunch of setback requirements. Structure's got to be so many feet away from the road, so many feet away from the property line. There might not be enough space in that area to even put anything in. that's why I was kind of thinking more just do like a basic little 10 by 10 or something. And, you know, maybe figure out what I can do there and stuff. And then all it would basically be is just on the inside a more insulated structure with just a bunch of shelving in there, and then if I added electricity to it, then shelving and maybe a regular refrigerator and or maybe have like a regular refrigerator upright, you know, standard old basic refrigerator, and then maybe next to it maybe like a little deep freezer and stuff for people to donate on refrigerated items and stuff. You know, I'll be really looking into all the laws and stuff, and definitely I'm looking at the county health codes and stuff and make sure I'm in compliance with them as well and stuff. So yeah, that's on that idea and stuff. But I'm going to, on all that, I'm going to absolutely wait until I know I have the money to say, okay, I can do something, because I'm not gonna, you know, get a bunch of people involved and not have, you know, no money to talk and stuff, you know. Because that way, if I go to these places, go to my local government and health departments or whatever, you know, go to my village office and say, hey, I need to know about this and this and this. You know, they don't sit there and say, oh, fool, you ain't got no money, and they might be like, oh, you got some dollars, and then they might be able to be a little more willing to be helpful and stuff, you know, because sometimes, you know, having money kind of can help you in a little bit that way, but yeah, that's, you know, that's how I'm going to play that out and stuff. Like doing product reviews and stuff, the only reason why I don't see much of that is, well, it's just a money thing. I take them. It's just kind of just again a money issue where once I got money to where I can go buy random products that I think would be neat to show on the channel, I'll do it when I know I safely have the funds to do so on different things. Because I know doing product review videos can be kind of helpful and also entertaining as well. So I may do some of that. I will probably be doing some of that. Then I got a ton of other ideas, like doing, I guess they call them budget challenges and stuff, that I thought would be really neat to try and stuff, you know, maybe get some friends on board and maybe go on the internet off the Facebook marketplace or some, you know, classify ad and buy an old chunky motorhome and do videos where, hey, does this motorhome make it to this destination or whatever, and get a group of friends going and say, okay, here's the challenge, you gotta, and stuff, and do my own skits and different things, you know. Maybe make my own online, hire some actors and actresses and maybe and some writers and ideas and make my own TV shows and stuff, you know. Possibilities are endless. I also do want to do the my car idea that I always talked about quite a bit before on this channel. Building a vintage, a car that looks like something that came out of the 1800s, 1900s, you know. And that boat trailer frame, turning that into a little two-seater adult go-kart and stuff, and then also fixing up that Nerf dog go-kart frame and stuff, do all that and different things and stuff like I talked about. But yeah, that's the goal is try to, is for me right now is trying to figure out, okay, how do I get from here to here, you know, on YouTube and stuff. So right now, that's why I do a lot of these talking videos, and since I really want to help out those in need, that's like a top priority kind of content I want to do, because I got a ton of ideas. I would, if I had that cha-ching, moolah, you know, talked about before, I would doing stuff, and so that's going to be a big thing of the channel, you know. The goal for me, and this might not be a really a good thing, but I wanna make my YouTube channel, you know, about a variety of different things. You know, I just don't want to be a channel dedicated to kind of one topic. I want to be like kind of variety, you know, different topics and mixing stuff. So we're like, one day you see me doing a video doing a talk video, the product reviews to helping out people in need, to building something. You know, I also talked about trying to build my own tiny houses in the past. You know, get with builders and create and design my own tiny house and build those and you know, different things. You know, because basically my goal is to basically right now make a YouTube channel that's basically like a production company kind of thing almost. That's, you know, like, you know, like, for example, like what, you know, Warner Brothers and Disney and Paramount Pictures and Fox and MGM have, you know, done down through the years and stuff. You know, those studios that where they film, you know, TV shows and stuff at, you know, kind of be kind of like that, where you're where Boomhauer 69's YouTube channel has got multiple things going on. Because I think that would be great to do, because then it would, I feel like it would attract more people to the channel, and I could be wrong on this. It could attract more people and stuff, you know, and get a lot of people. Like, I noticed when I was looking at the analytics and it was showing me all the different types of people that watch my channel and stuff, I noticed I have more of a male audience, for obvious reason, because I'm a guy. You know, I was born a man. I'm not one of those people, let's put it that way, that think something else. But yeah, I'm deaf, and so I have a lot more male audience, and I think it would be neat to bring some females onto this channel to help bring in more of a female audience in the end. You know, like, for example, when it comes to product reviews, you know, have a team of ladies that would be willing to maybe, you know, review some products maybe geared towards women and stuff, or whatever, or, you know, or doing some build ideas, maybe get some female carpenters and stuff. Like, I thought about how neat it would be get with some female ladies that I know and say, hey, how would you like to do a budget challenge video where you gotta try to make it to a fancy hotel in this old jalopy motorhome, or this fancy luxury motorhome and stuff, and then be able to, you know, do all that stuff, because nowadays, what's out there for free to watch? Like, I don't get cable TV or satellite TV. I don't get that fancy TV. Whatever I get is either I'm watching it on the internet through YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you know, the reels and whatever. I don't have TikTok, so I don't use TikTok, but that's how I get my entertainment and get my news, through just the free stuff out there on the internet. I can't afford to buy Hulu, Netflix, and all that stuff, and nor do I care to own that stuff. So that's my goal, is to, with making Boomhauer 69 YouTube channel about all different sorts of things, is to bring more free stuff out there for people to watch. That's why I don't care to do the become a member and get exclusive content, because that defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do, and where all somebody's got to do is just sit and watch an ad and say, oh, advertisement, and then, you know, move on and stuff, and then watch the advertisement and go back to the scheduled program, you know, like what free television used to do, you know, all the time. Because that's when in certain areas of my house I have a digital television, and if I fiddle around for a couple hours, I can manage to get one public free TV station and get to watch whatever rerun old TV shows are on, you know. That's all basically free television is anymore. It's just reruns of TV shows from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, like Andy Griffin of Mayberry, Bonanza, you know, Dragnet, and all those. And I think there might even be one station even running old episodes of the Brady Bunch and stuff. But yes, Boomhauer 69's watched the Brady Bunch before. You know. I'll even admit that Marcia Brady even caught my attention. So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, you know, just bring a bunch of free videos out there to watch, so that way people don't gotta buy anything, you know, because that's, to me, I always thought that's what YouTube should always be, is kind of about, you know, more about free stuff. That's what I liked about it when it first came out, you know, when YouTube first popped on the scene. I remember back in 2011 is when I finally broke away from dial-up 56 kilobytes per second dial-up internet and switched to high-speed internet. And then I jumped on the YouTube bandwagon, and being a person that didn't have a whole lot of money, that's what I loved about YouTube, is being able to watch all these videos for free and not having to, you know, pay for stuff, you know. I understand why people do those things. Content creators gotta make money somehow, and, you know, hey, if that's what you gotta do in order to feed your family and survive and do what the things you need to do, then go for it. Yay for you, you know. It's just for me, that's not for me and stuff, doing all that. Be members and subscribed. And I know people will talk about, well, I would be gladly to be a member just to support your cause. Well, I don't feel right about that. And that's, the way I'm trying to do it is I want to show the world that through YouTube ad revenue, that yes, you can still do things with the money you make off the ad scenes and stuff. You can still, you know, do things, and that's my whole goal and purpose, is to show people that through the YouTube ad scene, yes, you can make wealth for yourself. Is it going to be easy? No, it's like any other job out there. It's going to be a little tricky at times. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Now, years ago, was it a lot more easier? Oh, absolutely, yes, you know. Everybody knows that YouTube is not what it used to be, so it's going to be a little more tricky, but in the end, it's going to be a lot more worth it, because, you know, just getting something for free, you know, you're not going to appreciate it as much as when you had to truly work for it and stuff, and that's my whole goal. I know if I work at it, I do the whole, try to get all the views I can get all the subscribers and do all that, I will eventually get the reward in the return, and I'll be like, and then I'll look one day where I'll not even realize, and I'll look up and I'll see my ad scene saying, hey, Boomhauer 69 made $1 million off from YouTube. I'm going to be jumping for joy. I'm going to say, man, that dedication, that hard work finally paid off and stuff. Because then once I get to that spot, once I get to making decent money off of YouTube, then what I'm going to do is, my little car idea I've talked about in the past, I thought it would be neat to maybe start up maybe like a little, almost a little car company or something, you know. Take some of these, I see little vehicles that the Chinese market makes, and basically make an American version of it, you know. Build a factory here in America and start trying to produce some of those kind of fun little off-road toys and stuff that the Chinese market but the U.S. market don't make, and try to manufacture them here in the U.S. so people have a U.S. option where you can actually get parts for it, because obviously, you know, certain Chinese gas-powered little mopeds some of them, you buy them, you can't get parts for them. So, and I would like to, build some of those mopeds they have that the Chinese market make. I like the design of them, so it's like, why not try to make like an American version of that, where it would actually run, actually work, and you could get parts for it, where somebody could call up the company and say, hey, I need parts for such and such a model moped, or little vehicles and different things, like the Chinese market. They make a bunch of these little enclosed mobility scooters. I like that idea. I thought, hey, it'd be cool. Maybe someday start up a company, have a company, build a company here in the U.S. that can make those, And so that's kind of like an idea I personally had and stuff, is make like basically make a vehicle company that just makes kind of like little off-road vehicles and stuff, and the little enclosed mobility scooters and different things, and some gas powered vehicles and electric and different things. So that's one kind of idea for a business I thought about doing once I reach that spot, or maybe find a random business that I think would be neat and say, hey, can I buy you out and stuff. Like I thought about it'd be kind of neat if I was a rich and loaded with money, a billionaire type person. There's one company that makes little electric pickup trucks in China called Kaiyan Pickman. I think they call them a Pickman truck. No, it's a little pickup truck that's an electric vehicle, and it's basically a glorified electric golf cart that looks like a little pickup, looks like a little enclosed mini pickup, is what it is. And I thought, what would be neat to do, because I know they're a hit and miss product where you get one, it may work, it may not, and I thought, what would be cool to do is be able to buy that company out, bring it here to the U.S. and manufacture them, make it both electric and gas model, and simply, make something that actually going to work, and where you can actually buy parts for it, where you can go to your local dealership, where some local dealerships in the U.S. that sell off-road toys and stuff, and where you can walk in there and say, hey, I need yada part, hey, the starter went out and I need a starter, and they can, and different things and stuff, I would like to, in the future be able to do that as well. So, and because my idea is, something that's gonna benefit people, and who knows, maybe if I got was able to successfully do that and have the right kind of people in my life, then maybe work on making actual street legal compact vehicle that would be perfect for those that ain't got a whole lot of money and need a budget car, build a budget car that would be street legal and stuff and different things. And that's kind of one idea I shot around, so that way if I became well-to-do and then somewhere down the line my YouTube channel for whatever reason went downhill, or something happened where that crashed or failed or whatever, I'd have something else over here to fall back onto and to continue funding and helping those in need, have like a plan B and stuff. Is what I'm getting at on the whole thing is once I become well-to-do with YouTube and I'm that richy guy, have also another side business that for YouTube crash I can say, well, I got this over here so I can focus on still helping out those in need and stuff, and doing what God would like us to do as far as helping out our fellow man and fellow neighbor and stuff. I think that's one of the most important things people are forgetting these days. I know years ago in the Great Depression era and stuff, when the Great Depression was going on, that's what made it so great, because neighbors were helping neighbors, and families were helping families, and everybody was kind of getting along. Where nowadays, if we went into a Great Depression, it's every person for themselves. You know, you're not gonna see too many people helping those and stuff. You know, because I know there's a lot of people that down through the years took advantage of people, and so those kind, good-hearted people got fed up and said, "That does it. I'm done. I'm not helping anyone." And so, you know, I understand why we don't have so many people being kind and giving, and you know, and I look at it in that way. The people that ended that way ended up saying, "I'm done." I feel like they kind of, you know, let the devil get to them, and that's one thing I'm not going to do. So I'm not, when I'm helping those in need, if somebody kind of takes advantage of my niceness, I'm not going to let that deteriorate me from, I'm not going to let that stop me from continuing to help others and stuff. You know, if somebody takes advantage of me and my niceness, you know, and then I catch it, I'll go to that person, I'll have a sit down, I'll have a chat with them and say, "Hey, I know what you're doing, and I'm going to talk it over with them. I'm not going to punish the other guy the other man, woman that needs help and stuff. I'm not going to do that. That's not right. Just because one person tried to ruin it, I'm not going to let that one person, negative person, ruin it for others." That's kind of what I'm saying, you know. Too much of that is happening, and I don't want to be that way, you know. I want to become well to do to change the hearts and mind of the wealthy people, you know, and try to encourage the other millions and billionaires out there, like, "Hey, stop hogging all your wealth. Let's share the wealth and give to others and stuff, and that way we can kind of help, you know, and stuff, you know, like for example, if I started up my own, like, say, recreational car, motor company, whatever you want to call it, you know, and if instead of hogging all my wealth, you know, one way you can do it is share it by giving raises and stuff, and not, you know, letting your employees live below the poverty line and stuff, you know, because some companies, what they do is they'll give out pay raises, but then they upper their prices, like a lot of stores, you know. The unions will demand all these raises and all this stuff. We need more money to live and all this stuff. And then what does the stores do? They sometimes they'll turn around and raise their prices and stuff to justify that, giving that raise, and in the end it doesn't work out for anybody, you know. You're still in the same boat, and me, I would try not to do that, you know. Try to figure out, okay, how can I continue selling my products at this price and be able to give comfortable wages to the employees and stuff, you know. So, yeah, you know, there's a lot, when running a business, there's a lot to it. It's not just, you know, slapping down cash and building a building and start, you know, manufacturing something. There's a ton of stuff in it that I don't know about, so, yeah. Same thing with YouTube. I'm doing YouTube, but there's a lot of stuff out there about YouTube that I don't know, and along the way I've been learning. I know a lot more than what I did when I very first started this channel, like editing videos. When I first started this YouTube channel, I didn't know anything about video editing or what kind of programs are out there and stuff, and I just kept telling myself, okay, I gotta figure this stuff out, and eventually I found a program, a video editing program that helped me out and make things a lot easier, where, I got it, and now I can do some basic editing and stuff, and my goal is, with this YouTube channel, is hire those professional people that can do video camera people that can help me record and film videos, do it better, and get editors that know how to edit videos better than I can, you know, and then even get people that are even better at coming up with ideas, you know. Get a team of people and say, hey, let's build up a Boomhauer69 YouTube channel. Which if I did, once I did do that, I would call the channel something like Boomhauer69 Productions or whatever, you know, maybe revamp the company name and logo and stuff, because that's what I consider YouTube. I consider YouTube a business, and it's a company that I'm trying to simply start from the bottom and build it up and stuff. So yeah. And so, like I said before, one of the things I'm gonna do is try to be a channel about a variety of different things instead of just one topic. Be multiple topics, so that way people get different types of videos and different type of content out there, and they have more free stuff to watch and stuff. So that's my goal and stuff. Ooh, about almost an hour long video here. So yeah, that's just some random kind of, I guess you can call talking update. I'm just gonna label this random talk video and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, I know definitely the titles of videos and stuff. It would be neat to have an expert that knows a pretty good expert in helping me. Hey, how would you label this video and stuff, and have a expert that would know how to make a good catching title for a video and stuff, you know. Especially someone that's got some better grammar than I do, but yeah, if you like this sort of content, give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you didn't like this video, comment your thoughts below. Good video, bad video. If you wouldn't mind sharing this video with everyone you know, I would greatly appreciate it, because that's going to help me get more views on my videos and stuff by you people sharing my content and stuff, and letting Google Corporation know that, hey, there's people out there that want Boomhauer69 in the algorithm and stuff. And that's why I'm making this video. It's mostly just to try to help the YouTube algorithm and help get my channel more and more out there and stuff, where Google says, hey, this YouTuber is posting more frequently than others. Let's bump him up a little bit and stuff. So yeah. Hope you all have a good day, and thank you for watching.